Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
Welcome to Simblified, the greatest podcast to come out of Malad.
I think you really need to stop calling our podcast that.
See, I counted, and Malad has a population of 1561938. According to a census. I didn't actually go and count. Which is technically more than the population of 81 countries.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's right. It's actually bigger than my previous homestead, Bahrain. As well as other luminaries like Trinidad and Tobago, Fiji, Brunei, and of course the Vatican City. So there you go. If we had been in a few other countries, we might have been the best podcast in that country.
Not a bad idea. We should move to the Vatican City, I think. Unless its citizen number one decides to serve sermons through a daily recorded internet audio medium, we'll be safe.
Anyway, we start with the profundity of the week. Hardcore listeners of this podcast will remember
It's cute
Office
how you
Era
think,
3.
it's cute how you think we have hardcore
No,
listeners.
the three of us. The three of us. Okay. And our producer, who doesn't have a choice. Hardcore listeners of this podcast will remember that last week I had erased all the media files from my phone, hence rendering it impossible for me to put my hand into the vat of goodness that is a family WhatsApp group.
Tragic.
The fuel that feeds its goodness onto this particular section of the show. But this week, I knew I needed to step up to the plate, and my group delivered. Yes, Sriket. Yes, Naren. My group delivered. And delivered how? Delivered like a Fred Truman delivered a cricket ball. Sample this masterpiece. Happiness doesn't obey the laws of mathematics. When you start dividing it among others, it actually multiplies. Good morning.
That is so awesome.
This also becomes our second mathematics-based profundity of the week in a row. Naren, you weren't there for our last show, but Sriket dug out a mathematics-based profundity from his WhatsApp group.
It's all this useless mathematics that's remaining when you get to adult life, and it seems like all the family groups need to get it out like one forward at a time in in forms of like this.
Are you saying that next year we will start getting calculus based, like the differential of your life
And
is
actually,
integral to my life, or the limits of okay.
I think, Chuck, you should consider a profession of writing forwards like this now. I think family groups will pay you money for it.
If they start becoming snarky, it'll be like, suppose like somebody's girlfriend left them, they'll say solve for X.
This man has to be shot. You have to destroy him, powder him, send him to the sun.
No, it's more. I'm thinking more like ancient times, like hanged, drawn, and quartered types.
Insane.
Oh God!
Thanks.
So
Anyway.
when I came in, I was in a very foul mood because of generally the government of India, the people of India, the roads of India, everything. But now Chuck has put me into a better mood.
I pleased to him. Anyway, so moving on, we will now begin the relatively sensible part of this week's episode. With this news. Tesla will power its gigafactory with a 70 megawatt solar farm. Now, there are many things to discuss over here. First of all, Tesla, the company that's attempting to revolutionize the world one electric car at a time. And like we discussed on the last show, Sriket, is attempting to nullify whatever Donald Trump does. So basically, the conclusion was at the end of 4 years, we'll actually be as good as 2016. Because whatever good Tesla does will be negated by Donald Trump. Oh, that's a negative way of looking at it. Whatever bad Trump does will be negated by the goodness of Elon Musk
and Tesla.
Yeah. So anyway, Tesla is building what they call a gigafactory. This is not a factory that dresses up in outrageous outfits and has a sequence of number one hits. For that, it's a Lady Gaga factory. And Sriker, I loved how he guessed the punchline before even.
Naren, you really need to stop laughing and encouraging him. I mean, this is getting out of hand now.
I'm trying. It's actually evil laughter. It's my evil laughter. I have a factory, okay, and I have fabricators, and we deal with metal, and also I'm thinking of devising evil implements to sort of imprison and sort of powder Chuck and whatever to just sort of give him pain, and that makes me laugh. So that's not laughing at the jokes.
So you want your factory to keep me quiet. That will make it a gag factory. Like,
oh God.
Okay. No, I have one more. Neither is it
do.
10 raised to 9 into 10 raised to 9 minus 1, etc., which should be a gigafactorial.
Oh, that's all. Seriously.
Like, yeah, that if you go back and rewind a little bit, you'll hear a slight groan apart from these two. First time you've managed to get a producer to groan. Consider this a great achievement milestone. Anyway, thank you for that reception. So the Gigafactory is an ambitious project by the man who was sent from space to make sure that we still have a working planet after a century, Elon Musk. They are building a massive supply of lithium-ion batteries in order to power Tesla's electric cars. They see battery production as being the key element. So heck, why not just make a massive, take out a massive area of the Nevada desert, an area that's used for no other reason apart from writing articles about Las Vegas to say in sharp contrast to the vast desert area nearby, and build a giant-ass factory over there to churn out these batteries every year.
Yeah, so I had seen this oatmeal comic which talked about, which was basically trying to...
Yeah, the Tesla oatmeal comic.
The Tesla oatmeal comic, and the way he measured, so he said how advanced a technology is to produce energy is the distance that is established from the... energy is created by explosions, right? Yeah. Some explosion will create energy. Now, the more advanced the technology, the more the distance of that explosion from your crotch. Now, if in case of internal combustion engines, the explosions are very near your crotch. But in case of like, so if in case the energy is like electric part, then the explosions are happening at a coal mine.
Crotch,
So it's happening in a coal powered electricity farm or something, where the explosions are some miles away. In case of solar energy, which is seriously advanced, the explosions are happening on the surface of the sun.
Yeah. So what this also means is that the earliest form of transportation was flatulence. So imagine you just stand on a skateboard and then you just generally just let it rip.
The explosions are happening inside you.
Yeah, that's what. So that's the closest possible form.
Of course. But then with these batteries, why are they all being produced at one place?
So economies of scale, basically. So Tesla hopes that with single sourcing, manufacturing and optimization of batteries all in one place, the cost of the batteries will come down by 30%. And that's a big deal, given that the batteries are a key component of the electric cars.
This is, I suppose, not unlike our very own Kota, which uses mass manufacturing to create machines.
IIT aspirants. Yeah. The only difference is they can think for themselves, Naren.
Who? Batteries.
Okay, I'm not going to answer that.
Okay. So why the name Gigafactory? Why is it just like is it just made up term like Google, or is it because it sounds cool, or your company OML is going to host musical events and call it Gigafactory?
Not you too, Naren. Come on. You can only take so much in one episode.
I think this episode will win the award for most puns made on the word Gigafactory.
There's a phenomenon called adsorption, no? And we put carbon, activated charcoal, and then it adsorbs. So I'm like pure like carbon, but then all this evil chuckness gets absorbed onto me.
But with all the pressure on you, you will eventually become a diamond also.
Absolutely. That's so nice.
Moving right along.
This episode has clearly segued into who can make Sriket puke the first. Okay, to answer your question, Naren, sadly, no, there are no concerts going to happen in Nevada. I mean, concerts in Nevada. Who would think it, right? Las Vegas? Okay, never mind. No,
you
never.
have clearly not heard of the Burning Man Festival.
And you haven't heard of sarcasm. Anyway, going on. The annual battery production of this high-powered enterprise, see what I did there? Power. Okay, never mind. Is 35 gigawatt hours. Okay.
Wow.
Most houses, just to put that in perspective, most houses use about 150 to 250 kilowatt hours a month. And 1 gigawatt hour is, 1 million times that.
Wow. So every year the Gigafactory produces enough energy to...
Yes, I've done the math. 35 gigawatt hours, which is the annual output of the Gigafactory, can run an average TV for 599 years.
By which time Kyun Ki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi would have ended, finally.
Hopefully. It can power and...
Is it still going on?
You started before you were born, no?
No, the reruns are surely going on some Star channel somewhere.
At one time, a good half the cast used to stay in Malad. Okay? So yeah, you could just wander around and you could see like, and you'd come back really pleased at punch because you'd see.
But isn't Malad basically like a giant K serial by itself? Like Malad, the entire place has that, right? It's the aura of the place. Randomly two housewives will start walking down the road and shouting at each other, and you're like walking by with your earphones plugged in, and
I want to
ye
know
dekho aaj ka generation bigad raha hai, something like that. Someone
Which
will
part
point
of
at
Malad did you visit? Back to what the Gigafactory can power. It can power a single incandescent bulb for around 900 years.
Wow.
A fan for 3,600 years, an AC for 360 years, a Wi-Fi router for 500 years, and a little bit over one Glastonbury festival.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And most importantly, 500,000 Tesla cars, which is really the goal that Elon Musk, a man who still sounds more like a deodorant than a multi-billionaire, has given his company. So this will also be increased to 150 gigawatt hours per year in the next few years. I think by 2022 is this goal. So you can do the math. So he's looking at a huge amount of cars every year, and it's not just cars; it's also those solar powered. So he's acquired a solar city, and the power needs to be stored in some batteries called the power wall. So these batteries that they're creating are going to be both for the power wall. And his dream is to like completely take America off the grid, or rather the world off the grid, and use only each house should be able to create its own solar energy, store energy in these power wall batteries.
Yeah, I know. We all know another man who wants to use a wall to make America great again. So,
well played.
Well done. Where would we be without Trump? Actually, let's not answer that. Anyway,
definitely poorer with our content on our podcast.
Yeah. So let's tell you a little bit about the battery itself. These are lithium-ion batteries, the same type as you use in your smartphone, your camera, or your laptop. The difference being these are way, way more powerful. These are thousands of lithium-ion cells. Let's not get into how they work, but if you're interested, in a past episode, we spoke about the generally combustible nature of the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. That will give you the dope on how these batteries work. You install a charger at home which charges twice as fast as a regular wall charger. And there are also superchargers that will give you 270 kilometers on an hour's charge. Tesla.
So, but basically, if they do go the Samsung 7 route, the entire world will become one gigantic Rohit Shetty film, right? Where everything is exploding.
Wow, that would be so...
You
can make a movie out of that.
I know.
I'm proud of you for not going Michael Bay, dude. Make in India.
I know. Have you seen the explosions in Rohit Shetty movies?
I have no idea why we started talking about
Rohit Shetty.
So while we ponder over a script again to figure out where we lost the thread of thought, let's take a little break.
Hey guys, this is Malika Singhania, co-founder of the blog Stylogram, where we cover trends, fashion forecasts, celebrity style, tips and tricks, and lots more cool stuff. So tune in every Thursday to the Stylogram podcast, your weekly style telegram, giving you the latest fashion and beauty stories that are relevant to you. You can also subscribe to our show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Audio Boom, or any of your favorite podcast apps. See you soon.
And we are back. Welcome to
welcome.
And Naren is still over here. He hasn't run away. Sriket is still over here. We've chained him up, so he can't escape.
Yeah.
Just move the hanky. He needs to speak. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you,
You're
guys.
Okay. So before the break, we said that there are these superchargers which will give the Tesla 270 kilometers on a single hour's charge.
Not bad, considering that to get an equivalent in coal terms, you would need to wait for a few million years and for some dead brontosaurus to hurry up and decompose itself.
But the key news here is not all this, but the fact that it's going to be entirely powered using a solar farm. And the Gigafactory is what I'm talking about.
Wow.
We have the entire Gigafactory with all these numbers. It's going to be entirely powered with a solar farm.
So that literally means that all the Tesla cars are going to be actually green for the environment, not just shifting the base of pollution to somewhere else, which is what green usually means.
This is the world's largest roof-mounted solar installation, which definitely one must say is a much better things to do with roofs than providing a base for people to jump off and commit suicide or draw giant 3D spiders on to scare people off.
That's really a thing?
Yeah, apparently. So next to some airport in the US, people draw. This is prankster who draws like huge 3D spiders and aliens and things. So people are coming by flights really get freaked out.
No, I mean, I think it was in one of the other cities like Tennessee or something, where at the approach some guy had actually written on the top of his house, "Welcome to Ohio." Like everyone who turns up over there is like freaked out. Oh my god, I took the wrong flight.
Including the pilot.
Yeah, I know.
Pilots always do that, but whenever I go flying to Bangalore and this guy will say, "Okay, welcome, this is your pilot reporting from the flight deck. Welcome you to the flight too," and then he's leafing through his thing. Dude, you're in the air. Don't you know where you're supposed to go? And then after 15-second pause, Bangalore.
So one reason why I looked at this is I've always been curious about solar energy. So Elon Musk and Gigafactory awesomeness aside, I looked at a little bit of how solar energy itself actually works.
So let's start with a very fundamental question. Just how much energy does the sun, the famed giver of light and what has been coming off 40 years according to the Beatles, produce?
The Earth produces 3.8 into 10 raised to 26 watts of power. And let's just say there's going to be a little more than enough to recharge your mobile phone. In 1 hour, it produces 3.8 into 10 raised to 23 kilowatt hours or 10 raised to 16 gigafactories. So every hour it produces 10 raised to 16 gigafactories, what they do in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Every hour, my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it seems criminal to have to resort to burning coal to move a bloody car, doesn't it? But sadly, getting all that energy from the sun isn't as easy as using a 149.6 million kilometer long USB cable. I counted.
Wait, is it regular or Type C?
You actually lay a cable and then you find out it's the wrong type. Lay it all over again.
No, but then if it is like Indian also, like you'll cut the cable and like pull the wires out and do some jugaad.
We're very much in the Douglas Adams territory. They want to wipe out, remove Earth because they want to make our expressway, which is save 2 hours of the trip.
But you can't destroy it because Adobe is updating. So a solar panel consists of what are called photovoltaic cells, which is the process. Photovoltaism, I suppose.
School flashback is happening.
Yeah, school flashback. Yeah, is the process of converting light into electricity. Essentially, there are materials that will convert light into electricity, such as monocrystalline silicon.
Incidentally, Einstein got his Nobel for this, for explaining the photovoltaic effect.
Wow!
But really, it was for relativity. But nobody had the balls to give it to him for relativity because no one knew that it was, it just might be, a giant troll.
It's like Google's annual, the New Year's prank that Google pulls out every year.
So Einstein he never got it for the relativity thing.
Wow.
He got it for the photovoltaic. Yeah.
Okay, so there are a bunch of materials that can convert light into electricity. The conversion of light into electricity is one of the most amazing transformations we see on our planet. The others being a caterpillar into a butterfly and an engineer into an MBA. The electricity is produced as the photons of light are changed into electrons, which, as every science student has tattooed at the back of their gluteus maximus, produces electricity. Symbol, as we should say.
Symbol, yes.
Yeah. Photons lead to electrons moving, which leads to DC, which, along with being a successful comic and movie franchise, is also a type of electricity, which is then converted into AC, which is then used by a TV, DVD player, speaker, and IoT-connected garbage bins.
Yeah, so, I mean, I remember one of our physics profs was trying to explain DC current and AC current. And he really, really wanted to simplify it for us, right? So he actually said that, there are 2 types of electricity, DC and AC. Now, one is in waves and one is in a straight line.
Yeah.
Still no reaction from students.
Yeah.
So he said that this is basically it. If you get stuck to the point, one will give you jhatka, the other will screw you up completely. And then that clearly got everyone's attention. And then at that point we were like, this is completely understandable. Now we know exactly what DC and AC is.
So I'll take this a step further. This is something one of those urban legends that happened in our college. Every college has their urban legends thing, right? All of which came together on Three Idiots, clearly. So, out of DC and AC, only AC can pass through a capacitor.
Correct.
Okay. So, we had a very hard time remembering which was till somebody brought up a story. So, if you draw a capacitor, DC will come and bang right into the capacitor, whereas AC jumps like a hurdle or something. This is a much more effective visual joke than it is through audio medium. I never thought that would make it to an audio medium though. Wow.
Go on.
So
I haven't used the word capacitor in 15 years.
In my time, they were also called condensers. So there were different kinds of condensers.
But now because of global warming, there are no more condensers.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Okay. I really should actually.
There is, there were different.
But what did they use them for, Naren? If in your time there was no electricity,
Rubbing stones. No?
So anyway, the thing I was going to tell you is, before I forget, in my advanced years, so there are different kinds of condensers, right? So there are electrolytic. There are also something known as disc condensers. So they are little shapes. There was one guy and poor guy never got a thing. So there was a fancy dress competition. He made one big disc and wore it, and he started singing, "I am a disc condenser." And he never got a prize. What? There is no. So that's around that time I realized there is no justice in this world.
Oh man, this beats Sheldon dressing up as a Doppler effect.
I am a disc condenser.
I forget where we were anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, let's start with a very fundamental question.
No, we did that section of a while back. Fundamental question was answered a while back.
Sorry. Yeah. No.
Dude, he is like cocaine. The effect that he has.
Sorry,
We should do before and after last episode, this episode.
So one would think that with this discovery, nobody would ever need to pump out oil again, right? So what stopped that from happening?
Yeah, there's always a spanner in the works, right? So the primary problem here is that the material itself is damn expensive. It's 5 to 10 times more expensive. And correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But if all of us like status updates about going green, and if we work in advertising, certainly has conceptualized at least one Cockamamie Go Green campaign.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But if we are asked to pay 10 times more to use our ACs, fans, TVs, refrigerators, and IoT connected toothbrushes and whatnot, I don't think we would mind actually adding a little more carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. And it's not just that. Solar cells are extremely inefficient. 20 to 40%, which is pretty bad. That puts
actually not even 20%. Yeah.
Yeah, but right now it's moving towards this 20 to 40%.
40 is spectacularly high.
Yeah.
Spectacularly
so
high,
this is actually pretty bad, which puts it just about Indian politicians 2 years into office and right alongside Wally from Dilbert.
I also know that solar panels are expensive to put up. About $1 lakh per kilowatt approximately, last I checked. And since it needs experienced people
handling
that's not likely to go down significantly.
Yeah.
Even though the cost of production might be low. The initial investment is what makes a lot of people say, And while that's actually a very Goan thing, no? In Goa, that is the universal expression of disgust, Anyway, what was I? It might still be possible with economies of scale, like massive solar parks, around 5 acres per megawatt is needed. These are usually in remote remote areas, and transporting the electricity back will make it a little more expensive.
So even if you put it out there, there's a cost of getting that cheap electricity
There's
back.
Another reason is what happens is transmission and distribution losses are directly proportional to the current carried.
Correct.
Okay, so if you want to reduce the current for the same amount of power, you have to step up the voltage. So that's why high voltage transmission lines are 11 kV for 44 kV whatever. So V into I is the power. So V increases, I decreases, and the loss is I square R. So the lower the current, the lesser the losses.
That's all. My 12th standard mark sheet is weeping somewhere in the corner.
So the
upshot.
The upshot, the thing about all this is DC, which is solar, is difficult to step up. So you have to chop it up, make it into AC, step it up, then transmit it, and then bring it down and so on.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of fancy electronics is required.
Okay.
Which is a part of
again the cost. It's all, yeah. Also, maintenance is also an issue because the solar panels need to be like super clean and stuff. Just like an engineering student just needs one excuse to bolt out of class, solar panels need just the smallest amount of dirt for their efficiency to drastically go down.
And let's not forget, you need the damn sun to be shining at all times. Otherwise, a solar panel would be just as useful as the Rahul part of Rahul Gandhi.
We should take a little break right now. I mean, whenever somebody... Rahul Gandhi is like the magic word. When we say it, we need we need to take a break. And then we'll get back to looking at solar energy and indeed whether Tesla can come to India.
Which means Chuck's dream of finally falling at Elon Musk's feet might actually become a reality. Stay away, Mr. Musk. He can get clingy.
Be right back.
And be right back.
Yeah.
Well, hello there. I'm Naveen Narona. Do you ever think about what's it like growing up gay in India? What LGBT rights mean? What's happening to gay people around the world as we speak? Which diva inspired me to soar like an eagle? Well, it's time to get answers to all those questions, especially the diva one. Keeping It Queer will take a close look at the lives of ordinary LGBT heroes in India. People in the closet, people who tumbled out of it, and allies who support the movement in general. So come join me every Monday on a new episode of Keeping It Queer.
And we are back. And guys, since we are having such a serious discussion about solar energy and its profound implications for the future of mankind, I think that we need to start the section with a pun run about the sun.
God.
Please excuse me while I
So Shrikesh, have you heard about Metallica's Bright drummer?
No.
That would be So Lars Ulrich.
Oh.
Next, the sun's been shining for so long with so much poise. You could say it has a lot of flair. But it's the only one it's the only thing producing light, so it has a monopoly. You could almost say like it's a dawn. Get it? Dawn. Okay. The light has led to many plants growing. Crops. I remember meeting a farmer who asked his kids to feed him the day's harvest. He said, "Son, rice."
Okay, Naren, please call for help.
I've locked the door in case, even if he tries to escape, we have a bouncer outside who's, by the way, trying to learn French. So he'll say, Equinox. Correct?
Ouch. Oh my
Equinox.
God. We
Okay,
get it. Move on.
Okay. I don't see why you're so angry, mate. Have a mint. Have Apollo.
No!
I started getting celestial gods now. Okay. Why like this, Ra?
That's well played.
Yeah,
that's well played.
Yeah. You seem to be in pain, Shrikesh. Let me heal your scars. Get it? Helios. I checked all the gods of sun.
I literally going to get like the Greek gods to come and punish you for this.
Must say that felt extremely good. I've been listening to a lot of the Bugle lately.
Of course.
That felt extremely good. Yeah.
I'm glad you got that out of your system, Chuck.
Shall we talk about solar cells now?
Worst and most inexplicable transition since Navjot Singh moved from BJP to Congress.
Actually, Navjot's most inexplicable transition was from commentary box to politics. But anyway.
Or from cricket to the commentary box if you think about it actually.
Or from basic some talent and to insanity.
In the previous section, we spoke about how solar energy worked and what its problems were. Primary of those being it's expensive. And the moment something starts getting expensive, Indians start having a problem. Because after spending 3 crores on a lavish wedding, 10 crores on jewelry that you're going to lock up and never see, 10 lakhs a year on school fees and 30 lakhs a year on temple donations, who really has the money to pay for, the best way of making electricity? While it's not been mass adopted in India as of yet, it's actually very rapidly going. In fact, India is actually going to become the 3rd biggest market for solar energy in the world.
Anyone who spent a day in April in Mumbai will not be surprised really.
In 2016, India had a cumulative 8.63 gigawatts from solar, which is actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. The government is actually doing a lot of stuff and they are actually looking to step this up to 100 gigawatts from just rooftop solar by 2022. And it's easy to see why actually. One calculation says that if all of India were just to be like filled with solar panels, given that we get only X amount of sun every day or whatever, we would still have 5,000 trillion kilowatt hours per hour and Tesla can go suck that. But unfortunately, there is the minor matter of some 2 billion people in the way. Yeah. And Mukesh Ambani's house. So.
And definitely you have to discount the fact that there will be theplas being made on solar panels somewhere.
Very true.
Several states, including Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan and Gujarat, are actually entirely upping their solar game. Solar products have increasingly helped to meet rural needs, incidentally. And by the end of 2015, a total of 1 million solar lanterns were sold in the country, reducing the need for kerosene, which is more expensive and more polluting. In addition, a cumulative total of 30,000 odd solar-powered water pumps for agriculture and drinking water were installed. And in 2015 alone, there were like close to 1.2 lakh solar home lighting systems installed, and lots of numbers like street lighting installations, solar cookers distributed, and things like that.
And the Kamuti Solar Power Project, 90 km from Madurai, is the largest capacity at a single location around the world, 648 megawatts.
Do you have anything around solar? I know you did some stuff
Yeah.
with solar.
I've been sort of dabbling with things in solar. So one of the things that some people feel is that solar cells, because virtually all solar photovoltaic panels are made in China, and they are not entirely green. The production is not entirely green. So people feel that there are other ways of generating electricity, or generally using solar for generating power, and one of them is to convert to use big parabolic reflecting mirrors and concentrate that, vaporize water, and use the steam to generate power. There are a lot of technical problems, and I could like go on and on and on, and extremely unfunny and boring technical problems. But the short thing is that the capital expense tends to be much larger than the photovoltaic sale. So if you want to generate a megawatt,
X amount of
if it costs you X, megawatt from from this other, the mirror and thing would probably cost 4x.
Wow.
Okay.
But
and
when I say we is like me
Simblified,
and about 35
Mallard.
really smart scientists for whom I do all the fabrication. If they get their way, if they are likely to reduce that cost to half the cost of solar. So watch this space.
Watch this.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing. So Naren works in manufacturing, Sriket and I work in marketing. So when we say that we do fabrication, the three of us do it in two different ways.
Yeah. Your fabrication is in a factory, ours is on PPT.
My fabrication is better than yours. Anyway, so that's all we have for in the world of solar. And there doesn't look like Tesla is going to come to India anytime immediately, although one can keep hopes up. It's likely to be.
I mean, there is only so long he can resist a Modi hug.
Yeah, I mean, the incentive for him to stay in his own country is he's also an immigrant. No, if you think he's South African, no, so they'll kick him out eventually. And as we know from history, South Africans have a history of coming to India and.
Well played. You know what? My really prize thing would be Modi gives Elon Musk his trademark hug, and then he goes back to Parliament, and Amit Shah asks him, "Dude, you smelling good?" So he says, "Yes, it's Musk." So cool. Yes.
Naren, I'm very proud of you.
But basically, Modi walks up to one of the giga factories, kicks it on the side, and asks, "Kitna deti hai?"
Anyway, let's. So what I want to do is before we end this podcast, I want to actually revisit a segment we haven't actually done in a while. Early listeners of Simblified, all three of which are in this room, will remember that we used to do a segment called etymologies, for lack of catchier word. So each episode we pick up a couple of terms or country names or whatever, and just talk about how it came into being. So I'm going to start with one. It's a very small one actually. It's probably very apt for this podcast, and it's the word disaster. Okay, it comes from the Greek dis meaning bad, and aster meaning stars, like astro.
Wow.
So disaster. So because they used to blame anything bad that happened on the stars.
Wow.
So disaster. So that's how that came into being. Yeah.
Interesting.
You guys have one?
Yeah. So the word that I looked up, and it was something that was quite innocuous, but then turned out to be something quite incredulous.
It turned out to be innocuous. Innocuous ka opposite has to be innocuous. No, never mind.
Yes.
Sorry, never mind. Next.
Thank you, Chuck, for your esteemed opinion on this. But my word presented here for your esteemed consideration is Turkey.
Turkey.
The country and the bird. The country got its name first.
Not the national feeling of Delhi boys.
So that might be related to that country meaning because it got its name first and its origins were straightforward. Turk or Turuk, which meant strong in Old Turkic. When it came to the bird, though, is when things got interesting. Actually, batshit insane. So stay with me here on the crazy etymological journey of the bird turkey. The bird was originally native to North and Central America. It was domesticated by the Aztecs, who were conquered by the Spanish conquistadors. They introduced it to Europe through Constantinople, which was a major trading port at that point in time, and which was under the Ottoman Turkish rule. So you're with me right now still, right?
Yes.
So the English thought, well, it came from Turkey and they named it accordingly. You would think that is that, no? Wrong.
Yes. No.
Each country and language decided to make their own theories about where the bird came from. The French, Polish, Italians and the Turkish themselves called it variations of the word India.
What?
Or Indian chicken.
What do we have to do with it?
Thinking it had come from India.
Oh, why?
Because they thought that if things have come, because there were a whole bunch of Indian traders around at that time, so they were like, so if it came in Turkey, it must have come from India.
Or they must have realized if there's like a weird looking thing that makes a lot of noise, it must have come from India.
The Dutch took this to another extreme, calling the bird Kalkoen, thinking the bird had come from Calicut. It's actually named Kalkoen after Calicut.
That gobble gobble must have sounded like Malayalam.
Gobble.
Yeah.
Gobble.
Meanwhile, some Portuguese idiot came up with a bird-brained idea that Turkey came from South America and called it Peru.
What?
Now, and just like Cristiano Ronaldo t-shirts, this was happily adopted by the Indians and Pakistanis who called the unfortunate bird Peru in Hindi and Urdu. So Peru is basically a Portuguese guy thinking it has come from South America.
And called Peru in a country where it is called Indian, because of which it is called Indian bird in another country.
Yeah, exactly. In French, it's actually called Dind, which is the Ind, which means of India.
Oh.
And the rest of the world decided to embrace the madness and assign random origins to the bird, with the word in Arabic meaning Roman or Greek chicken. In Malay, it's called Dutch chicken. In Vietnamese, it's called Western chicken.
Wow. I have to tell you my when I got married, my wife's from Mysore, so I was very excited. I'd never been to Mysore before that.
And that was the reason you were excited.
Yeah. My thing in life was to go to Mysore and have Mysore masala dosa. So Mysore masala dosa would be so cool to have it. And I went all over Mysore and there's no Mysore masala dosa. But then I went to a couple of restaurants. Mysore masala dosa, no. And then one guy says, no sir, but we have Bombay masala dosa. So, yeah.
Are we done with the Turkey?
No, I mean, not exactly. In fact, many other languages have a ton of different, regardless of the origin, they have a ton of different meanings for the turkey, from big bird to weird chicken. But Swahili has the most badass word for it, which is Bata Mazinga, which literally translates to duck cannon.
Wow.
What?
Bata Mazinga, which translates to duck cannon.
That sounds like a chappal that Sheldon Cooper would wear.
I'm sure the turkey right now just wants to use this duck cannon to shoot all these moron humans who have made a gigantic cluster in naming a simple goddamn bird.
Which is not even from their country.
I mean, it's very fitting that the metaphorical meaning of turkey is a failure of some sort, because this clearly is one of the largest etymological fails of all time.
Simplified award for the largest etymological fail, and I think that's a fairly niche award.
Yeah. But this has to be the most awesome etymological expedition that I have been on. So that was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed all that. So this reminds me of this famous Shakespeare quotation from King Lear, one of my favorite ones. It goes like this: "This is the excellent foppery of the world, that when we are sick in fortune, often the surfeit of our own behavior, we make guilty of our disasters the sun, the moon and the stars, as if we were villains by necessity, fools by heavenly compulsion, knaves, thieves and treachers by spherical predominance, drunkards, liars and adulterers by an enforced obedience of planetary influence, and all that we are evil in by divine thrusting on, an admirable evasion of whoremaster man, to lay his goatish disposition to the charge of a star."
Wow.
Shakespeare hits it for a 6.
Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed life. I don't know. I'm just going off on a tangent over here.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking till the end.
All three of you.
All three.
Including us.
Including us. Subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already on all your, regular apps and things like that.
All the usual places.
Yeah, all the usual places. If you have money, then obviously it's already, you have the iTunes app. If you are like the rest of us and smarter, then get it on Pocket Cast and on Audio Boom and all those apps.
Yeah.
And you can
otherwise on your work computer with pilfered earphones from airlines.
They do that. Kingfisher isn't in operation anymore. Yeah. Anyway, I am Chuck_Gopal on Z Twitters.
I am at Streaketh on Twitter.
And
Shanayan.
Not PMO office, I'm sure. I am very convinced. Anyway, what if it turns out he's real Donald Trump, actually?
It's pretty much the same. I mean, it doesn't need to do much governing there anyway right now.
Anyway, on that note. Okay. Yeah. Bye, everybody. Enough madness for today. See you next fortnight.
Yeah.
See ya.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcasts, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcasts galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.